What's up, guys? This is Todd here with What You Want Sports, and today we are diving into the AFC North. Now, the AFC North is a very tight division from what I've looked at, and if you listen to most people, they'll probably agree with you. Most people have a different favorite in this division besides the Bengals, but everyone knows that. Now, the first team I'll be getting into is the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Ravens have something to prove, mostly Lamar Jackson, after getting shellacked last year by the LA Chargers in the wild card game. Now, what the Ravens did that I like is they went out, got a guy named Mark Ingram. That adds to their depth at running back. I love it. They're going to be able to switch and rotate these backs through Gus Edwards, Mark Ingram, and Justice Hill, their rookie from Oklahoma State. Really like that move. Should help with Lamar Jackson, take at least a lot of the pressure away from him. Hopefully they can press this run game and really be able to kind of control the ball, control the tempo, and not make Lamar Jackson throw the ball. He should not throw the ball more than 20 times a game. If he throws the ball more than 20 times a game, he's going to make a couple mistakes, and it's going to cost them the game. But hopefully they know this. Like Mark Andrews from Oklahoma, he had a really good rookie year. I think Lamar Jackson is going to like him a lot. He's going to be his number one target again this year. You pair that with a great offensive line, and the Ravens look like a team that can control the ball and obviously be more of a defensive, slow-paced team that they can help grind out and win games. Now, I don't want to talk about the receiving corps too much. I like Miles Boykin out of Notre Dame. I think he has a good run after the catch ability, which you need with Lamar Jackson because he can't throw it very well. Not crazy about Marquise Brown. I like to see kind of his wiggleness, if that's a word. See how he can do getting the ball on these screens or maybe even jet sweeps. Hopefully they can have more of a West Coast offense to help Lamar Jackson and help get the ball to these receivers and they can make plays. Now, the Ravens defense. They got rid of Za'Darius Smith, which was kind of head-scratching, but if you look at this linebacking core led by Kenny Young, they are young and they are ready to play, averaging the age of 25 years old. Now, of course, across their defensive line, I read an article. Michael Pierce apparently showed up to camp extremely overweight. He is already very big at 340 pounds, but apparently he showed to camp over 30 or 40 pounds overweight. That is pushing 400 pounds. You cannot have a starting caliber 3-4 defensive end at that size. It's just not going to work. Now, hopefully he'll shred the weight. It was just OTAs when it happened, so hopefully he's fine. Now, their secondary. I think they have the best secondary in the NFL with the addition of Earl Thomas. You have Earl Thomas, it's great free safety. Tony Jefferson, great strong safety. And your two corners on the outside, Jimmy Smith and Marlon Humphrey. That's an elite secondary. That is an elite secondary. That should give the team time to get pressure. And by adding a guy like Jalen Ferguson from Louisiana Tech, should help with their pass rushing. I expect him to have a really good year, so that should really help the team have this nice balance on defense. So yeah, I have their best win this year, Week 14 in Buffalo. This is a big game. Buffalo is a hard team. If you saw my video before, I think Buffalo's going to have a top 5 defense. They're going to be very hard to run the ball on, and I think the Ravens do it. I think their elite offensive line helps them out. It's going to be a really big win to go into Buffalo and beat them. Now, worst loss, I had them losing Week 4 at home to Cleveland. Now, this is a bad loss because it's Cleveland, and it's in their division, and they lose at home to a team Week 4. That's just not a good thing. You don't want that to happen. And yeah, I think that's going to be a bad loss for them because no one wants to lose at home, especially to Cleveland, who 2 years ago were awful. And now they're going to look like they're running the division. All right? So now, next team we're going to is a team that shouldn't be making much noise and should be in the tank for Tua conversation. This is the Cincinnati Bengals, who I have going 4-12 and 2-4 in their division. Now, the craziest thing about the Bengals, I think they might have the best weapons in the AFC North. I look at their team and it's just crazy to me. Running back depth. You have Joe Mixon, who looks like a nice young running back, potential Pro Bowler in the next few years. You combine that with Giovanni Bernard. You bring in a guy like Trayvon Williams from Texas A&M and Rodney Anderson, who looked like a first or second round pick before getting injured at Oklahoma. That is crazy running back depth. Now at wide receiver, we obviously know they have Justin Ross, Tyler Boyd, and A.J. Green, who A.J. Green hopefully is a Hall of Famer. I really hope he is. I know he's on the Bengals, but Hall of Fame talent nonetheless. And then obviously they bring in they draft a guy like Drew Sample, who I really liked out of Washington. He should be able to help out Tyler Eifert while he's coming back from an injury. But yeah, those weapons are crazy. But sadly, you have Andy Dalton, which just kind of ruins it. That and a suspect offensive line. I really liked their team a lot more before Jonah Williams went down, their left tackle from Alabama. I thought he was going to kind of be that leader, bring the team together, and actually help them to be more around a 500 team. But with him going down, that offensive line just shows more and more holes. And don't be surprised if we see Ryan Finley getting the starting nod by week 12, week 13, once they realize that this team is losing and there's no chance for it to get any better with Andy Dalton. Now, their defense is too. It's very It used to be, wow, they look really good, but now that defensive line is getting kind of old. They do have a lot of depth at pass rusher. I love Sam Hubbard. Carl Lawson's really good as well. They both had really good production within the last couple of years. Obviously, Hubbard was a rookie last year, but I really liked him. He had about 4.5 sacks in limited snaps. And then you also have guys like Jordan Willis and Carlos Dunlap. I love their depth there. Now, defensive tackle, Geno Atkins is getting up there in age. He's pretty old now. Obviously, he's still serviceable, but yeah, that D-line, I think, has a couple years to progress before becoming elite again like they used to be back in 2013, 2014. And yeah, linebackers, I want you guys to be on the lookout for Jermaine Pratt from NC State. I loved him on film. Every time I watched State, he was flying around the field. He's a converted safety, third-round pick. He is going to make noise in Cincinnati. He is going to make noise. Be on the lookout for him. Cincinnati Bengals have they have prospects in the secondary. Jesse Bates had a great rookie season, over 100 tackles, I think 3 interceptions. And then you had a guy like William Jackson, who is a great future shutdown corner. So yeah, hopefully bringing in Zach Taylor, who was a quarterbacks coach and a Rams wide receiver coach. Hopefully he can help out with this offense and kind of get the most out of everybody. I think that they have a lot of weapons, but again, Andy Dalton just hasn't shown us anything since like his sophomore year. He really just kind of peaked early and has seemed to just digress a little bit. So yeah, their best win, I have week 17 versus Cleveland. Cleveland doesn't get a bye week because of this. I think Cincinnati plays spoiler, like a lot of teams do in their division. I love that about the NFL. But yeah, I think they beat Cleveland at home. Yeah, I think that's a big win. I think anyone could say that's the biggest win. It's pretty obvious. Cleveland's a really good team this year. Spoiler. And yeah, worst loss is going to be week 10 to Baltimore at home. That completes the sweep. You don't want to get swept by a team, especially Baltimore. They're trash talkers, kind of bad boys. And yeah, I think that's going to be their worst loss. You never want to get swept against a division rival. So yeah, that's their worst loss. So yeah, Cincinnati Bengals, 4-12, 2-4 in the division. Tank for Tua. Now, my favorites, and a lot of people's kind of new favorites of the division, you got the Cleveland Browns. Baker Mayfield, I mean, he's going to be an MVP candidate. He has to be. I mean, if you watched the Cleveland Browns last year, he was a beast. He was a beast. He looked so natural in the pocket. Now, obviously, there's still questions about his decision-making. He has a good arm, but he likes to make those crazy highlight reel plays, and sometimes that leads to turnovers. Yeah, I think Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr., they work well together, really well together, and I think bringing in Odell also helps out Antonio Callaway, who I expect to keep improving. He is a burner, and if he can really develop as a route runner and get his hands right, then they're going to have a scary three-headed monster. Yeah, question, offensive line, they lost Kevin Zeitler in the Olivier Vernon trade. That offensive line looks pretty weak. They have Joel Bitonio, Casey Treader. We're both solid, left guard, solid center, but the rest of the offensive line looks pretty depleted. So I would be worried about that in their run game because I don't think Kareem Hunt plays this year. He had another incident. I don't think the Browns are going to, they're not going to let him kill locker room chemistry by being this guy when they already have a team that's set. Nick Chubb, I know there are questions about him being the guy for a whole season. I like what I saw. As long as he doesn't get injured, I think he should be really good. Now, what's really important about this Browns team is their defense. Their defensive line across the board is elite, led by Myles Garrett, who's defensive MVP candidate this year, obviously. He has the potential to get you 20 sacks a season. And yeah, linebacking core, pretty good. Joe Sherbert, Pro Bowler, very good tackler. They drafted a guy like Sione Takitaki from BYU, and from his scouting report, he is just a sure tackler. So I actually think he's going to be a pretty big player for their defense to be able to come in at any time and just be a sure tackler. You can always use sure tacklers, especially at the linebacker position. He's not crazy elite in terms of athleticism, but it seems like he has a good head on his shoulders and knows how to play the game of football and knows how to wrap up. It's very important. Their secondary, I think they're going to miss Jabril Peppers. I know Jabril Peppers isn't the best coverage safety, but him playing kind of that monster back role was going to help with their okay linebacking core. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that trade. I know you got Odell Beckham, but yeah, I really like Jabril Peppers though. That's just me. But yeah, the secondary is okay. It's okay. But yeah, I really like Greedy Williams and Denzel Ward on the outside. I think Greedy Williams was a steal. The only reason he fell is because people questioned his ability to tackle. But me personally, I know it's important for cornerbacks to tackle, but with this team, I think that they're going to be locking down the outside, him and Denzel Ward, and they're going to be getting sacks like crazy. Now, best win. I have their best win is week 3 at home versus the LA Rams. That's just going to be a big win. LA Rams are a very strong team. I expect them to be just as strong this year. And yeah, I expect the Cleveland to beat them at home. And that kind of shows everybody that, okay, this team is legit. They're here to play this year. Worst loss, I have kind of a tie between week 8 at New England. Them losing to New England like that is going to kind of sting because I think New England, everyone wants to beat New England. Build up. It's going to be Baker, Tom Brady, future versus, present or even past, depending on how Tom Brady plays. I think New England still gets the win. That, and then also week 17 versus Cincinnati that I talked about before. I have them losing both those games. And, yeah, I think losing to Cincinnati week 17 is not going to be able to get them that bye. They're going to lose it to the Patriots, even if they win that game, because the Patriots will have the tiebreaker. So, yeah, those are mine. Again, Cleveland Browns, 11-4, 4-2 in the division. 11-5 and 4-2 in the division. Very good team. Lastly, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I'm like all of you. I hate Steelers fans. Still got 6. Hate them. They're obnoxious. And if you're a Steelers fan, I'm sorry, but you're probably obnoxious. And it's fine. You've won. But you're obnoxious. So, I have the Steelers going 9-7 and 2-4 in their division. And yeah, I don't love their team. On paper, at least. I don't love their team. Big Ben's getting older. He's still a Hall of Fame guy, so he still has that potential to put up, 4,300 yards, 28, 29 touchdowns, and 12 picks like he's been doing for the last couple of years, because they're going to air it out. I do like their depth at running back with James Conner, Jalen Samuels, and Benny Snell Jr. Benny Snell, he's not a burner, but like we saw in that system, the Steelers, man, they just know how to run a running back. They perform, all of them. Even when Jalen Samuels came in for a couple games, it looked like they hadn't missed a beat. So yeah, I like their depth at running back. Wide receiver, I don't like their wide receiver core at all. Once you get to Juju, once you skip past him, it is nobody. James Washington was supposed to come in and be like this deep threat, but he didn't show anything. Ryan Switzer hasn't done much. Combined, those are your second and third option. They had combined 450 yards last year. I know you have Vance McDonald, who is a beast. He had that crazy moment stiff arm last year. But, yeah, I don't think those two weapons are going to carry you. They have a good offensive line, but it is aging, and every year an offensive line gets older and older and older. It's hard, especially with this, especially in the division they're playing in. They have very good defensive lines. So, yeah, I'm not crazy about their offense. Now, their defense has a lot of potential. They have a solid front three, and they have some linebackers. Now, the question with their linebackers is obviously the biggest one, I think, is Devin Bush. If Devin Bush can come in and be the stud that he was at Michigan, then we might be talking all different. You know what I mean? Then they might win 2 more games. Because obviously we know the middle linebacker is probably the most important position to a defense. And yeah, Devin Bush has Defensive Rookie of the Year potential. He could have a Darius Leonard type year. He could have almost a Defensive Player of the Year season. But yeah, I just have questions about their linebacking core. Their front seven is very good. Yeah, and then you have their secondary. I liked when they drafted Justin Lane. I think obviously he's going to get more and more snaps as the season goes on. He's a nice guy to have on the outside. He's tall and lanky, and he should help a lot with this division, who has a lot of tall, fast wide receivers. Yeah, and also I hope Terrell Edmunds. I know he wasn't supposed to go in the first round last year, went in the first round. I hope he can have a good year and prove that he was worth a first-round pick. But right now, I think there are too many questions on the Steelers' secondary and at the linebacker spot. Yeah, I'm just not crazy with the Steelers. Again, I don't think they're going to be bad this year. I think they are a 9-7 team, and that's where I'm going to put them right now. But yeah, so I have their best win is going to be week 16 in New York against the Jets. If you saw my video before, I think the Jets are going to be a really good team this year. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to be a very strong team, and I think it's going to be very impressive if Pittsburgh can go in and beat New York. Plus, that also will keep them in the playoff hunt. Their worst loss is going to be Week 17 at Baltimore. That's just going to be a heartbreaker. I have the Ravens beating that for them to both tie and cancel each other out, and no one makes the playoffs. So that's going to be tough, but that's what the Ravens do, right? They play spoiler. These teams hate each other, and you never want to lose to the Ravens. And so, 9-7, 2-4 in their division, and no Super Bowl ring for the Steelers. Thank God. Well, that's it, guys. That's my division rundown. Again, I have the Ravens going 9-7 and 4-2 in the division. I have I have Cincinnati going 4-12 and 2-4 in the division. I have Cleveland going 11-5 and 4-2 in the division, winning the division. And then I have the Pittsburgh Steelers going 9-7 and 2-4 in the division. Seriously though, I just want to talk about this division. Doing this division, all these teams are very good and they have a lot of proven players. But it just seems like there's been a lot of turnover amongst all these teams. So it's kind of hard to nitpick these teams because they've all shown, like the Ravens and Steelers have both shown that they can win games with just their head coaches. Mike Tomlin's a great coach. John Harbaugh's a great coach. But I think Cleveland now is just really talented, and I think it's going to be hard to stop them. But yeah, that's the AFC North. I want you to let me know what you think about my predictions If you think the Steelers are going to win, or you think the Ravens are going to win, or if you think Cincinnati's going to win, let me know in the comments below. Comment below what division you want me to do next. I'm ready for all of them. But my next thing I probably do will probably be the AFC South. I'm excited for that. But stay tuned, and thank you again for watching. Please like and subscribe. Peace.